is more than it we just think it is. Although we have May Day and also we have Labor Day, but they use the May Day in Europe and stuff as their Labor Day because it's a holiday in some countries. It's not a holiday here, but Labor Day is. So that is what happened yesterday, and the labor movement would have been out there as usual. So we will get to labor in a moment because people still calling me about this 10% thing. They didn't really understand the thing. So I think I'll have to go it over again because, and that is the thing, I blame again the labor movement, or let me stick to PSA. I blame PSA since the inception of Watson Solomon joke of keeping its members very illiterate when it comes to the labor movement and their rights and interests. Everything was focused on him, so he did all the fighting, he did all the talking, and you just didn't do anything. It's something like when we pray to God and we say, God go help me. You ever hear the story of the two women? One went down to the river and she washed all she clothes and think the other one come down with real clothes to wash. This one come up all she clothes, wash it on she head and thing, and the next one say, oh God, girl, you wash all them clothes, who help you? She said, God help me. The next one go and sit on the river stone and sit on there waiting because she was waiting for God to help she. She didn't understand the other one meant with God's strength and praying to God, he gave her the strength to wash. She literally felt God came and helped the woman. So that's how PSA became under Jew. He did everything. You don't have to learn nothing, you don't have to know nothing, he will do everything. And that kept the members very literate when it comes to labor movement and the rights. So that is why I guess some people not understanding when they hear about the 10%. Mark, you're here ready, boy. I hope you have grease on your hand and don't mess up your couch, eh? So I see the news day 2 days ago, it says taking flight, Carifta star Christopher Sami eyes aviation career. 15-year-old Queen's Royal College student Christopher Sami is still on cloud nine following a dream debut at the Carifta Games on home soil. Less than 2 weeks ago, Sami pulled out celebration popularized by NBA star James Harden and football star Cole Palmer as he searched to a pair of gold medals in the boys under 17 150 meters and 300-meter events at the Hazy Crawford Stadium in Crapo. Sami's execution, skill, and endurance on the track were all impressive, but his achievements were perhaps magnified by the youngsters back up as the youngster backed up his talk to lead TNT. To a 1-2 finish in a thrilling 300 or 3,000 meter final on April the 20th. Edging teammate Amani Dillon, which has since gone viral, Sami gave an insight into his strategy in middle distance races. That was really my plan. If they go out first, or if they go out fast, I can still run back on them, Sami said. The plan was really to rock from behind and bust it on the last lap. That is what I did, and I feel great. Riding his time and using his sprint power in the latter stages of races has worked like a charm for Sami thus far, and he intends to stick with that strategy. He's a Form 4 student. He's eager to take flight as he pursues a career in aviation. He is fascinated by aeronautics, engineering, and the ability to fly around the world and make memories which will last a lifetime. He has chosen to do subjects such as physics, chemistry, advanced geography, and TD engineering to help with his goals, and balances his studies with an intense training schedule, which sees him putting in hard yards along his pace and performance factory multi-club sports club, formerly one-a-week multi-sports club on a daily basis. So this is who Christopher Sam is. So he wants to be a pilot, fly planes, and probably even fix planes. And he was also successful at Carifta Games. So big up there for a 15-year-old Sammy. So let me continue. So, where's that? Jen isn't an inferior, insignificant. Only propaganda news happening. And you come to listen to the propaganda. Well, what, Marky, use that contradiction in walking. That's cognitive dissonance, we just call that. You have two realities. If I bring in propaganda while you're here, you like propaganda, well, stay here. I tell you, grease your hands, don't mess up your couch, please. So let me continue. So across in Tobago, we have Ansel Dennis, who was Senator Ansel Dennis. On the PNM side, he is saying that, let me hear what he's saying here. We're moving quick today, quickly. But quick is the word. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Rena. Hi, Shelton. Hi, Sarah. Dennis refuses to step down as Tobago council head. This was yesterday in the Guardian. People's National Movement Tobago Council political leader Ansel Dennis says he will not resign, even as other party officials have stepped down following the party's heavy defeat on Monday's general election. There will be no resignation from me while I am on the national executive as a deputy political leader, Dennis told Guardian Media yesterday. I am here by virtue of being the elected political leader of the People's National Movement in Tobago, so there will be no such resignation from me. He added, according to the PNM's constitution, the elected political leader of the PNM in Tobago, because PNM in Tobago has its own internal elections, so the political leader who is elected in that election is also automatically a deputy political leader of the party and not necessarily appointed by the political leader nationally. His statement came hours after PNM chairman Stuart Young resigned. In a statement on his decision, Young said he was stepping down to allow the party to reflect and move forward. Former political leader Dr. Keith Rowley also announced his resignation 5 hours prior to Young, but said he will officially demit office today, that was yesterday, after leading the PNM for several years. Rohan Sinanan, another deputy political leader under Rowley, also tendered his resignation yesterday. The PNM lost the Tobago East and Tobago West seats in the to the Tobago People's Party on Monday. United National Congress leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar led her party to a 26-13 win over the PNM. Political analysts said the public turned away from the PNM because of several issues, including recent salary hikes for senior government officials and a feeling that the party was out of touch with the people. Despite the growing calls for change within the party, however, Dennis said he is staying and plans to focus on rebuilding the PNM base in Tobago and helping the national executive recover from the loss. Dennis said the PNM in Tobago still has work to do and he intends to lead that effort. And again, why should he? Before Kamla, big win now. She had lost how much election? 11, 13 or something, so she didn't step down, so it is what it is. So I'm also seeing, hi Kathleen, if I didn't see you before, I'm also seeing this happening in Tobago. This is a post by somebody who I usually read his stuff. I have confidence in what he's saying, so according to him, it's Mr. Gavin Walters. It says here, a program that was undertaken by WASA, where a number of young people who were on short-term employment got their throat busted yesterday, a mere 2 days after this government, whose campaign song bombarded our ears for weeks, stating that when UNC wins, everybody wins. It was never sincere, and I said that many times. But there are those who are fickle with brittle brains and believe they were sincere. The UNC has no track record of sincerity. These young workers were asked to return the devices they worked with and the jerseys they wore. I guess they were seen as political hires too by this government. But look how swiftly they acted to put those people on the breadline. Unfortunately, though, some of those workers who voted for their own demise. This is no different from the wicked, heartless behavior by the THA after entering office in early December 2021. This was after Farley assured that no one has no fear of losing their jobs. And by February 2022, the first unit was lynched. Then next unit the next month, since promising that there were more to come after the first. But we always knew he was a pathological liar without any remorse. I can guarantee that there will be more to come in Trinidad very soon. One of Kamala's false promises was that the UNC will create 50,000 new jobs. We wait to see who will get those jobs and where. Since that, I have heard persons from the Attorney General office, they're packing up the stuff they're going. I heard persons, let me put allegations, of the people who in some building in Baltara, they're the people who with the property tax. They had to pack the thing and ride out. And all different state agencies or state boards, people packing up and riding out. They're not waiting for somebody to run them. And that is what the PNM always said, and PNM supporters always had a problem with PNM for. Because when PNM comes into office, whoever they meet on boards from the previous government was there, whatever, once they're doing the work and all that, they never interfere and send them home and all that. But the UNC does not have a track record of sparing nobody who followed a favor with them or who they believe supported the PNM or who they believe PNM give them the jobs. And between 2010 to 15, we would have heard these things, but I guess social media was not so out there as it is now. So I guess what is going to happen now, we are going to be seeing and hearing a lot more things than we heard in 2010-15. So 4 days into it, 3 days into it, and we have mass unemployment already starting and people losing jobs. I understand where again, there's some other place I heard, but we wait to hear, and of course somebody will give us the news, right? In some other news, I see a teacher lost $230,000 stolen from under her bed. It's still that people don't put their money in bank and things, but I guess they tell themselves they don't have to pay no bank charges, the money easily accessible to them and no stress. But with that comes another stress also in the event that somebody steal it. Because in the bank, the money is insured. So anything I'm taking money in there, they think whatever, you have to get back your money. It's insured, right? As far as I understand. So it just yes, police, this was in Daily Express yesterday. Police are investigating the theft of $230,000 that was hidden beneath the mattress in the home of a teacher in New Grant. On the second day of the new school term, the teacher returned home around 12:30 p.m. and discovered her house was ransacked. She contacted the Tableland police station, whose officers found that the burglar proofing on a window was pried open and the window was unlocked. Upon checking her bedroom, the teacher found that the money was missing. Also stolen was a CCTV DVR set, a titanium watch valued at US $1,500, an iPad valued at $6,000, and a PlayStation 5 valued at $7,500. Corporal Ram Subhag and other officers of the Tableland Police Station canvassed the area for the CCTV footage. WPC Mohammed is continuing investigation. So when you have these things stored at home, of course, it is, unfortunately, it is at your risk. I'm also saying, while I still talk a little political thing before I reach, all the leave Marky right now, he hand grease down and he have it in his hand and he hoping that he ain't dirty up all the chair because this is where he does come to get that type of excitement. You quite can understand if here it's propaganda is spreading, but you're right up here, you're up here, front and center. First man, the first man to start as I open my life is you. But I spreading propaganda. Resign. Also, backing up, they go on other different agencies, that state board and all that. They gone, they going, they're looking to go. And in Bataria, the property tax people who were working there, I hear them gone since yesterday or something, no? I saying alleged. But that is expected. And what I would have also said, excuse me, what I would have also said is this is to be expected. And that is one of the issues that supporters of the PNM have with the PNM, because they say when the PNM come in office, whoever is there in places working from the previous government, once they're doing the work, the PNM don't have a history of busting their throat or sending them home. The UNC has no such conviction. Them no business. You have to go. If you look like it's a PNM or you get the PNM or they think you get the PNM, okay, got to go. As I was saying, between 2010 and 15, we may have heard these things happening, but we may not have known. But because of social media has become so big now, 10 years later, we will be actually seeing these things. People will tape it and post it. And I don't think this time around, because it was said last time around, 10 to 15, it was alleged that they used to hide take away people camera when they come certain place or they phone and thing and hide thing and call this newspaper, tell them don't print this, da, 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 da. It was alleged. I think now they may have a challenge trying to do that this time. So we will get more and more of that news out. People would be sending it out for us to see, right? I also spoke about the teacher who had money under she bed, $230,000. She went to school, come back, about 12, whole house ransacked, money gone, expensive watch gone, expensive iPad, expensive everything gone. And I was just saying, I can understand why some people may want to keep those things at home, but it is a risk. You put it in the bank, people will say you have to pay this charge and that charge, and it's your money, why you have to pay for it? But the thing about it is secured or insured, as a matter of fact. So anything happened to it inside there, them have to give account and get back your money. You know, that kind of way. But I hope that she gets some answers, or the police get some answers, so that she would know what happens to her money or who takes she money. I am seeing that the Single Mothers Association wants a meeting with Kamla Persad-Bissessar. What they want a meeting for? This was yesterday also in the Guardian. It says, thanks Sarah Allison and everybody, hi Constance, hi Angela. They said that Single Mothers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, SMATT, President Sherman Wickham Howe is asking incoming Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar not to remove single mothers employed with a community-based environmental protection and enhancement program, CPEP, and the Unemployment Relief Program, URP. The association also wants a meeting with Persad-Bissessar. Pay attention to how they are going. The association also wants a meeting with Persad-Bissessar, and it continues, pay attention to how they are going to manage the mothers on the ground, the persons being removed from their jobs, and listen to the cries of these people. We have mouths to feed, rent to pay, and it is not nice to just delete them from the system. We would appreciate it if she can find somewhere, some middle ground to accommodate them, Wickham House said. She said since the People's National Movement lost the election on Monday, the association has received dozens of calls from workers who have been employed under both programs over the last 10 years. The phone is still ringing off the hook, and we have lots of concern. Whether we acknowledge it, the European CPEP and these programs are politically affiliated programs, and when government changes, persons are removed. This is one of our biggest worry and fear, she said. In a Zoom interview yesterday, Wickham House said the workers are worried because this has happened in the past, where workers were dismissed arbitrarily after a new party won the general election. I think she's speaking about 2010 to 15. She said these women cannot face unemployment right now, especially with a new school year in mere months. We have mothers who have children in school, common entrance, secondary entrance assessment exam is about to come up, as well as they have to prepare them for new schools, even preschoolers who are now about to start. They need to be employed to follow suit with taking care of their children. With over 30,000 followers on Facebook, Wickham House said a non-governmental organization, NGO, which was founded in 2012 and officially registered 2017, helps single mothers navigate life. Well, Mrs. What's your name, darling? This is the young lady. Well, Mrs. Sherman Wickham Howe, Ole have Ole mother in office now, and she love Ole because when UNC win, Ole win. So I expect she will keep Ole on the program. I don't know. I don't know. I just reading what I see, and I don't know why anybody anxious now. I'm trying to understand why people anxious and worried. And why? That is what I vote for, because Ole believes she says she cares So why are they worried and concerned? I'm surprised to see people writing to say they're concerned and they want meeting. And I don't get it. Why you need to do that now? Sit back and relax, because when UNC win, all leaders win. Right. So, and I mean no disrespect to nobody. I'm just saying what was said. Me didn't say so. That was the talk and all they went with it. Why no? All they anxious. I would have been sitting back easy because I vote for. I'm just saying I didn't vote for them, but all you know I say. I would have been sitting back easy and saying, well, when them win, they say I win. I would not be worried now. But all they know deep in all their heart that any mark could play. So let me continue. That's why they say you can't take back your vote and know who you're voting for. No, get all the information, evidence, and know who you're voting for. There's a history to the UNC. I old enough to know the history. Me and forget the history, so me get tied up with them and they talk about when, who win, whoever win. And I glad for it. So PNM stalwart, this was in yesterday's Guardian. Stuart should have been given a chance to lead, because by now everybody know the opposition leader to lead the People's National Movement in the Parliament, because I think we have 12 seats, 13 seats. It is Penelope Beckles Robinson. She has been there long, so people feel because she has been there long, it is she time. And I am trying to understand what that really had to do with anything, really. I have never seen, I have nothing against Ms. Penelope Beckles. I don't know her personally. I know her by seeing her. I have not seen in Parliament and thing talking and all that. She's not a person who will fire me up. Not that she don't not talking good things, but you know, the in Parliament and thing, as more speaker to be, that just some ways because you see like a shower coach all over, and come here always raging, you know, I can't remember, who again we are there? You know, fiery people, Dr. Rowley, you know, that kind of, even I put in Stuart Young, they might remember Parliament, you know, she has a different quiety style, and I think now, with 13, with that whipping the PNM get, or we get, I think we need to be in the Parliament. I don't think we need to be sounding weak and looking weak. That is just my opinion, which I'm entitled to. And again, at the end of the day, I have no hard feelings for nobody, because I'm not in no general council, I'm not in no conference, I'm not in them thing. Me's an ordinary person that's vote for the PNM. So as I was saying, Ms. Penelope Beckles is now the opposition leader leading the other MPs in Parliament when they open Parliament, right? But Freddie Ferreira here is saying he's a stalwart of the People's National Movement. He's a walking historian. He said People's National Movement stalwart Freddie Ferreira has warned that the party's greatest mistake was panicking and selecting the wrong leader following its crushing defeat of 26-13 on Monday's general election. His remarks came after Dr. Keith Rowley and Stuart Young tendered their resignation as political leader and chairman of the party, respectively, and news began circling that a Arima MP Penelope Beckles had received a majority support of the MPs to be opposition leader. Ferreira believed Young should have been backed by the party as opposition leader. They should have given the party time to exhale, analyze, review, do the introspection, and if they're not satisfied with Stuart Young, they had the opportunity to remove him at the convention. But there was no need to panic and make decisions that are likely to have serious consequences for it, Ferreira said. He also raised concern about the lack of ethnic diversity amongst the 13 elected PNM MPs, warning that this could alienate sections of the population. And that is why I make reference to the fact that the only non-African in your 13, you lick him up. You have given the opposition UNC material to talk about you. You have to be careful with these things when you're making these decisions. I don't think that would send the right signal. He placed full responsibility for the defeat on Rowley, who had been political leader for the past 15 years, accusing him of clinging to control behind the scenes. I mean, it's clear to everybody that in spite of the fact that he attended his resignation, that he was operated by remote control. It was clear that Stuart Young was his protege, he said. But he has to accept full responsibility for the defeat of the PNM, and that as the leader of the party, it means that whatever strategy, the strategy that he applied was ineffective. Ferrer also criticized the party's election machinery, which he said collapsed due to General Secretary Foster Cummings running as a candidate. The General Secretary is a person who ought to know everything in every party group, every constituency, and it's quite clear from the results that the party election machinery collapsed. They had either no clue what was going on the ground, or in fact, if they had any clue, they didn't pay any attention to it. Ferreira said the scale of defeat included losses in traditional strongholds like Labre, Point Fortin, signaling deep issues within the party. The marginals are already unpredictable, but when you lose Labre and Point Fortin, it tells you something. The PNM had not lost an election in Labre since 1986. Point Fortin, same thing, and you lost them, it tells you something went wrong. He repeated his earlier position that Rowley should have stepped down as political leader when he resigned as prime minister again after Monday's loss. Despite his criticisms, Ferreira expressed faith in the PNM's ability to recover, citing its strong foundation. Right? And I said before, everybody will have the say, them say, she say, who say, armpit, politician, and all the analysts that analyze and everything, whatever it is. And my simple comment to that is this. This is not an unfamiliar place that the PNM is right now. The PNM got a crushing landslide quarters from the NAR, which was a set of parties also came together. 33. 3. The PNM only had 3 seats, and those were the Porter's Laventil, but those constituencies in I think Laventil, Mufa, and those areas there. Only 3. The NR got 33. And the PNM came back. In 2010, they got a small maxi. This time they have 1 extra passenger. They got a small, probably one is a driver. They got a small maxi in 2010, 15, and the PNM built back. And they got another quarters in 2025, 26, 13, and they lose Tobago's seat. It's not the first time they lose any seat in Tobago. That's another thing. The PNM is an institution, and as all institutions do, when they go through cracks and cravages because of the foundation, they will build back. So me are frightened about that. UNC is the party I just always watch and say them get a serious blow, them can ever recover. But again, it does happen because they have to join with one set of parties and all that. But that's beside the point now. So that is what's happening in PNM there. PNM will have a challenge. It's 3-4 days now. People will have to talk, who feeling who are feeling who. That is normal. That is normal. They would pick back up and start to rebuild back. I want to ask Mr. Jennifer Ortiz Primus, because talking from a political place now, not union. As I said before, on Wednesday, nobody can bad talk Ms. Ortiz Primus to me when it comes to labor and what she did for the PSC. You can't come wrong with them talk. You go follow dread. You can't come wrong. You got that woman build PSA to be an institution that it was. You can't fault she for that. But you see the politics. I don't understand the politics. And I want to know she's going to put out a statement just as she's saying that Seo Chung should go, Rowley should go, and who should go and who not go. I'm kind of confused because Ms. Ortiz Primus, as I know it, is not even executive member of the PNM. She's not a member of parliament. She's not a senator. So why she's the one the loudest out there and behaving like that? I don't get it. But I want to know if she's going to respond to Brian Manning, who is saying, this is what he's saying.
People say what I'm going to call for absolutely is an end to the one-man, one-vote system. It is absolutely my view that system has destroyed the party group system within the People's National Movement, and the party group system is the one competitive advantage that this party has had since independence in terms of winning elections. The one-man, one-vote system must be removed.
So that is something you're going to put in general consensus?
I absolutely will, yes. Absolutely.
Any other proposals or further issues or ideas that would probably be presented to the council?
Well, the People's National Movement went to elections on Monday, and the people of this country have spoken. And it is time for us to listen to what is being said, for us to regroup, do some introspection, and to decide what it is we must do better to better serve the people of this country. A lot of people believe that it was too much of a top-down approach in terms of how we govern and in terms of how the party was operating.
Right? So that is Brian Manning there saying that in his opinion, he wanted to remove the one man, one vote. We call it one man, one vote, or some one man vote. Excuse me. And revert back to the delegate system where it's not everybody in the party voting, it's just certain blocks. They say what they want to influence whoever, and that person going to vote for them. Whereas in the one man vote, every financial member of the PNM, when they have election, they're going to vote for who the hell they want to vote for. So they want to regress the PNM. That is not progress. But I want to hear what Ms. Baptiste Primus has to say about that, because she's always proud to say when she left the PSA, because she had acquired the age of 60, and in PSA, the constitution is at 60 because we is public officers who become executive members, and we kind of mirror the same thing in the public service, in the sense that in the public service, your retirement age is 60, and also in the PSA, although Leroy Baptiste came and would have done underhand things to stay longer, but we're talking about a well-run PSA. And she would have said after she left PSA, because people didn't even know she was actively involved with PNM. To be honest, people were shocked. Anyways, when she went into PNM, she said what, I'm paraphrasing here, why she went to help, or Dr. Rowley, whatever, is to help him with how, because he wanted to stop the delegate system and introduce the one man, one vote, and she was instrumental in helping him how to do that. And she has always spoken now, because when the whole bacchanal with when the thing with Minister Stuart Young to be the Prime Minister and all them, all the bacchanal days, she and Lahunt and whatever, she would always talk about the Constitution, the Constitution, and the Constitution. Nothing wrong in that. So now Brian Manning wants to interfere with the Constitution and stop the one man, one vote that she fights so hard for. I want to hear her come out and talk about it. Because to me, that is very repressive. That is tyranny. So they was calling Dr. Rowley a dictator and a tyranny. But he introduced one man, one vote in the People's National Movement. And now MP Brian Manning say he wants that take now because it's mashing up the party. And as Mr. Freddie Ferrer say, when they look at the all who win the seats, one person, well, there are two persons or three persons probably of kind of mixed heritage. That would be Comembert, Nobriega, and my MP, Stuart Young. But he may not want to really look at Nobriega as no opposition leader, because you know he's young in the thing. And because Comembert, I know probably his age, or probably as he said this as the last, I don't know, whatever reason. So and you want somebody young and vibrant anyway to kind of bring that. And you bypass MP Stuart Young, who is young, is energetic, is vibrant, has the ideas, fresh ideas, this, that. And then you have a whole lineup now of, as Freddie Ferrer said, that is a reflection of basically a large percentage of one race. And there was talk and conversation, I don't know, because I don't be inside the PNM, at this black elitists and how PNM is a black party. Me totally reject that, because I live in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's a cosmopolitan country. It also said the founding father of the PNM said, and the anthem said every creed and race find an equal place, but the founding father of the PNM said, one of the founding father of the PNM said, there's no mother Africa, India, China, Syria, Lebanon. It's only no India. It's mother Trinidad and Tobago. And a mother does not discriminate against her children. And the constitution of the PNM, number 9, speaks about, it didn't speak about race, ethnicity, speaks about talent and all. So when you come to talk about this black elitists in People's National Movement, bring it back to black, I reject that. I'll tell you why again. Dr. Raleigh was the blackest in skin color, PNM leader and prime minister. He was blackest in the sense he used to be a part of the, I think, NJAC or the Black Power movement or something to that effect. Because remember, he used to head the Seismic Research Center in UWI. And remember, it's out of UWI, them young university students and the Makandal Daga and Kafra Kambon and all of them was in UWI, and that movement come out of that. So he was one of the blackest prime minister it had. And all they run him, and all they still want running him now, and all they used to say to black and ugly be prime minister. So I don't understand how they want to say that the PNM is a black party. If I want to belong to a black party, I would go Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and those countries where I know is a majority of people who looks like me. But it's a cosmopolitan country. I ain't not on a black party. But not only that, all this so like black thing, it had a black caucus form. In this country, thousands of black people join and with that black caucus today. So don't give me no bullshit about no black party and no black elite. Because it's about talent. Because you could black and you could elite and you have no blasted talent. Or you can't carry nothing from A to B. So we don't, let me talk for myself. Not me, Papa. I not in no black party thing. As I say, I'm a normal member. Me and no player in the dance. I'm a normal person and supporter of the PNM. But I reject this black talk. And rejecting it doesn't mean to say me are proud to be African. I'm proud to be African, and because I'm proud to be African and I love myself, I could love any other race, and I don't feel threatened by another race in charge of nothing or in leadership. That is not what I just look at. I just look at what you're doing, what you bring to the table, and how you're operating. That's what I just look at. So me don't feel threatened by somebody who of another ethnic group who gets a position where I have to listen to what they have to say. I don't get harassed with them thing. So if people in the PNM insecure about themselves being black and feel if somebody who is not black is running the party, it means to say that their blackness will diminish, or they go check and deal all this. If it are plenty wellness centers all over Trinidad, or they could go and fix up all this self or whatever, because it ain't making sense. I know plenty people ain't gonna like me for saying what I say, but you know what, at the end of the day, plenty people doesn't like me. And the simple reason is they don't like to hear the truth. But they like to tell you the truth, but they don't like to hear the truth. So I go back to what I'm saying again. I totally agree. Not only because Stuart Richard Young, SC, is my member of parliament, but because I know and I see the vision that he has for the PNM. And I don't see no color when I watch him. And when I interact with my member of parliament, I don't see no color. And I don't feel insecure. I don't feel threatened. I feel I'm an equal. When it comes to profession and education, we may not be equal because he's in a different league. But when I'm talking about in humanity and standing as a human being, I feel equal. I can have a conversation comfortable and don't feel no horrors. So I say too, I don't agree, but I am an ordinary member of the opposition leader. I have nothing against Ms. Penelope Beckers. She has done me no wrong. And if people are mature, they will take what I'm saying as mature criticism, but they wouldn't. They will go and tell the woman, I say, me like she and all kind of chuckles. But again, at the end of the day, the truth is the truth, and I'll always be vindicated because I'm talking the truth. So I agree with Freddie Ferrer in that. I think they made a mistake. They made a mistake. And those who have this thought of this black party thing, that is not for a modern day Trinidad and Tobago, but a cosmopolitan people. That is a backward thinking. And that is what we just accuse the UNC of only thinking about Indian. It's the same thing. Come now, man. Only a cognitive dissonance. So I continues. Let me move on. So it has started. It has started. And I'm not surprised. It's not gloom and doom, but because of the fact that is just how the UNC rolls. And like, I don't know. So, they like to tell me that I'm racist. But this came off a page called We Are Trinis, and it says, because there's an accompanying videotape, and it says, the hungry mouth and them who couldn't pester Donna Cox and Rowley outside their office already start with a begging ghetto hand to mouth behavior outside the UNC office. And somebody was trying to tell me, somebody who I always dividing, and I want to divide. How the hell I could want to divide when I'm not the one putting up them posts on them? And that's a long time post. How it could be a long time post when the person mentioned Donna Cox and Rowley? That had to be a recent vintage, right? Because Dr. Rowley was a member of parliament for Diego Martin until, well, Diego Martin Central or one or East something, until the election, because he didn't put back up himself, right? So that's what the person say. But nothing racial in that, nothing racist in that, nothing discriminatory in that. But when Frederick talk about what she's saying, I'm racist. Look at what the person talking about.
When she done what she do, then she just quit it. Better she go. They open. Nah, they're still open. They close it. Them just close 5 o'clock. 5 or 6. 6 o'clock, them just close. Who you calling? No, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening, sir. Thank you. Oh, apologies. No problem. Yeah.
Right? Which is the right thing. So I'm asking you to exercise a little patience. And when I spoke to the person in charge, she's there TSC and diligently trying to write up whatever they should be. Persons that don't, I guess, they don't from my supervisor, they are there also to verify to make sure that everybody is accounted for. So with that being said, I don't expect anybody to any call on this thing. I don't expect any call with anybody using any illegal substance, consuming alcohol, because at the very day they're here on this premises in a business place. No alcohol to be consumed on the compound. No marijuana, smoking, and these things, please. Right? Don't just exercise some patience. They are going to pay everybody today. I was assured that everyone that is concerned with this one taking place here, the money is here, they're going to get paid. It's just a matter of patience. Right? Anybody in here understand what I said?
No, everybody here.
So let's go on the straight. We'll take everything up here. Alright? And the son I asked you, I have to make sure people say yes. Anybody have any questions? Anything to ask?
No.
Anybody confused or anything?
No.
So everybody was normal and the answer?
Yes.
Alright? Beautiful. Let's hold on and together a while, but let's hold on and get you. Alright? Nice.
All right. So apparently, those persons there went to get, if it's the money or whatever it is for working for the UNC. And now they're going to get, and the boy Jersey write up, I think that is the UNC candidate for Aruka Maloney, if I'm mistaken. Some woman, whatever. The place closed up and them all day. He come out and the security come out and say, I hate a disturbance out here. I want no smoking, no marijuana here, no smoking, no marijuana, no drinking, no nothing. This is a business place. Well, they come out and say, me sure when they did went to get the work to go and canvas wherever door they open, they could have walk in and out. No, you see door lock up, they outside and they like, okay, yes sir, thank you sir, yes I understand sir. So I understand it going on all over, that when people show up now to get their money, there was offered 600 and whatever. When they show up, some getting half, some getting none, some they say who name wasn't on the list and all kind of thing, whatever. That is why we just have to say sometimes, some of we African people does make people have to wash them out on we. That's what I say. Some African people does allow people to wash them out on we with them kind of behavior. Or trust me, excuse me. Had it been they going to line up, but somebody paying them, they cussing stink. And no security can come to tell them nothing. They won't fight. But you know how easy the pipe down? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad for you. Then it had this one also. Some Vashish Maharaj saying, the defeat of the PNM has revealed the truth. It is a cult controlled by the Degomatin elite and administered by the children of house slaves. Nobody gonna find nothing wrong with that. One on Facebook tell me, from a slave master name, and that I had to bow to Kamla because she buy me. So now she's slave because she's my slave master. And I had to bow and kiss she foot. But them thinking racist. Them is just talking. And yes, it's true you have a slave master name. So that is how some of them see we now. Well, not we. Because I will answer to suit. Because me ain't no slave. My ancestors were never slaves. My ancestors were enslaved. It wasn't something they take willingly. But when I look around and see how some of we African people, Henry Christophe and Toussé, and all them strong leaders, Queen Nani from the Maroon, Boston, from Grenada, and all them must either sit up in the grave and cry and say, I should have never fight. We should have never fight for all to have freedom because all they gone back to our people have all their behaving like all their slaves. So that people could turn and tell we now, you see all they hungry, all they get up begging, all they come out all they and begging. But them not racial, Frederick racial. Anyway, let me continue. So, the unions are telling Kamala Prasad Bisesa, I was talking about how nothing may have really changed with the UNC really. And why I'm saying that is that, look at the choice. Look at the choice of the Attorney General, John Jeremy, who appeared for the first time we've ever seen years looking sick just like Kamala, who was a man. If all they hear how Dr. Devon Maharaj speak about John Jeremy should be shamed, but apparently like in Hannah. Because Devon Maharaj was telling people of Indian descent, look who Kamala chose for AG. I paint it my way. This African man who used to hung down Bazde Pande, hung down this one, hung down that one, hung down this one. And she take he now to be Attorney General, and it have all we bright lawyers and them. It have Anand Ram Logan, it have Gerald Ramdeen, it have Jayanti Lachmidial, and he went on to call names. But he said, look who it is. Kamala take over all here and bring this African man who used to be unjust, I just said he was whatever, against the leader and the founder of the UNC. Hung down. I put in from where I read it kind of, because it was really long, eh? But the sentiments I pick up is, how you can put this African man who used to want to lock up the Indians of the UNC, the educated Indians, the academic Indians, the leader, the founder of the UNC, who was Prime Minister of the UNC, and take he now and make he Attorney General. I saw somebody put up something here. They said in 2009, the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago passed a no confidence motion against John Jeremy SC for reported attempts to undermine and threaten the constitutional independence of the office of the DPP. But on May the 1st, he was sworn in as TNT newest Attorney General under the incoming UNC government. So those are the things that tell me that the UNC had changed under Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Probably it is even worse now. And then when I see this also, former Ministers Jack Warner and Anna Roberts say they are ready to serve if called by Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar. And they have all right to say that because they were out there, and they used to be out there getting all cussing people, and Jack Warner up and down. They want to come back in. One from Life Sport, one from FIFA. The man, she said, go clear your name. So how people could think that UNC changed, this UNC changed. So let me continue. Unions are saying, start negotiations now. They're anxious. So let me see what they're anxious about. All in fine, look at the picture with the man at the end and the kind of biggish pants and kind of African looking top. All in fine, he looking like a Moko Jumbi, looking bad. Watch it, like and he said looking terrible. I wonder if he went up to the States to answer case for touching the woman aggressively. She private part and all that. I wonder if it's he. He never says not he, no. I wonder if it's he. Because the case called sometime just before the election day or around election day. You so bad he looking. Anyways, I'm good, yes. So this was in the Guardian. It says here, union anxious, that was yesterday, to start wage talks with new administration. The trade unions across the country are expectant and eagerly awaiting to return to the negotiating table with a newly elected government. The successful campaign for the coalition of interest spearheaded by the United National Congress featured many promises. However, workers in particular would have been interested in the assertion made that negotiation for outstanding wages settlement will begin at a 10% increase. The promise was reaffirmed by President General of the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, Ansel Roche, just last week. As he stated, Tech workers, your negotiations is going to start at 10%. Postal workers, job evaluation. NIB workers, implementation with 9%. Port workers, 12%. And all of things that was agreed on already. Now that the victory has been secured, the unions are not looking for the following through. Seamen and Waterfront Workers Trade Union, Michael Anisette, is one union who is confident that the enhanced salary promise, you hear the word I promise, for workers in the public sector will be kept. Promise. He told the Business Guardian in an interview on Tuesday there were pre-discussions and there were commitments that were made in terms of regularizing the port 12%, which the PNM government under Keith Christopher Rowley refused to implement for dock workers. And it wasn't implemented. He wouldn't tell the dock workers the right thing. It wasn't implemented because it wasn't signed off. You can't implement where you sign off. I could promise you all wherever it is, sign off properly. You ain't gonna get it. All right. Hey. The result of Monday election proved that what I was saying through the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. Having said that, there is a commitment, and there was a commitment by the Prime Minister-elect, and we believe in the commitment because she has proven to be a woman of her word. Of her word. In 2010, when they came in, the finance minister was Winston Dukran, and for the outstanding negotiating period, he said they can't pay more than 1%. The PP government can't pay more than 1%, because if they pay more than 1%, what you going to do to the economy and all them things, right? And then union started to march and agitate, it went to 5. And union said they don't want that, they ain't taking that, and we march all over Trinidad. Well, PSA, march all over Trinidad, I didn't march into, no 5%, we ain't taking that, Next thing we see, Duke signed for 5%. Que sera. So I don't know who they're fooling. And when she had settled with the union for 14%, it was the year of the election, the top part of the year, when she knew that the country was in a recession, so it had no money to pay nothing. She committed to a 14% increase because she very well knew also they wasn't going to win the election. And the PNM coming in had to find money to pay. So I don't know a word Roger talking about that she just keep. Because I remember she embarrassed him all in Parliament when he wanted to come down and march on she, and she still thunder by saying he was working in this, where's that oil company before it had, boy? Oh God, one before Petrotrin, something, I can't remember the name now. And how he was some senior worker and a man nearly dead under the watch, and he tried to cover it up and he paid him. All them things nearly lost his work. Because, ironically, that was my member of Parliament, Stuart Young, who was the lawyer to help he out of that. Yeah? Okay. So I don't know a word she keep to he. Because when the PNM government did give him the refinery, patriotic and do whatever, she find they shouldn't get it. Anywho, and he said to know that many economists and PNM officials have raised questions as to where the money would be found to finance such increases. He, however, pointed out that several private sector companies had managed to finance such salary increases in similar economic climate, and as such felt the restraint offered by the previous government could have been improved, because he's an economist and he knows everything. While I'm hearing those armchair economists as if he's not one to, because if you're saying this government could pay based on everything, you use an armchair economist because you're not an economist. Just some people might say I'm an armchair politician or armchair this, armchair that, because me qualifying those things. What I qualify in is labor. Right. While I'm hearing those armchair economists talking about we wouldn't have the money and how much it would cost the treasury, my view on the matter is that the PNM government priority was not working. They didn't see workers' wages as priority, said Ansel. The veteran trade unionist said the question that needs to be asked is why is it in circumstances where government entities based on the finances could have met the salary increases they negotiated on behalf of their workers, that the government refused to implement those agreements and sign agreements. This is an interference in industrial relations and interference in collective bargaining, said Ansel. And you know what Ansel and all in the union movement? Kamala Prasad had 29 seats. She could have done some, and McLeod was the Minister of Labour. All the issues you had there, what did he do? What did he do to change these circumstances that you're complaining about now, Mr. Annie said? Or they had a Labour man as the Minister of Labour. What did he do? When he became Errol McLeod from OWTU, what did he do for Labour? Give me a break, yes? A reminder that when it comes to the settling of negotiation in particular, the position of the UNC is starting point of no less than 10%, and we start from there, and we'll see how the negotiation go. Said Thomas, who like Roger, took to the UNC platform during the election campaign to confirm that this was promised to workers. People just promise all kind of thing. I promised was to do something today for somebody, and I couldn't do it because of circumstances beyond my control. Communication Workers Union General Secretary Joel Ogier said a union is not waiting to see if the UNC can hold. The union is now waiting to see if the UNC will hold to their word, despite having some apprehension about some of the promises. You know the word is apprehension, there have been some fears, some concerns. The Communication Workers Union has maintained and continues to maintain its independence. And we are now looking forward to seeing, based on the UNC's slogan, when UNC wins, everybody wins, how their promises will be realized. What I must say is we have been looking at some of the promises or the gifts or the treats that were promised during the campaign to be one of, for instance, no property tax, issues a pension, a very ticklish position for the Communication Workers Union because we have outstanding pensions as well as this 10%, she said. Let me say, capping, and when I say capping, I mean starting negotiations at 10%. We are looking at it to be a very unrealistic figure. Let me read it again. And he said that is not an armchair economist saying that this is a leader of a union. Hear what she says, Communication Workers Union. Let me say, capping, and when I say capping, I mean starting negotiations at 10%. We are looking at it to be a very unrealistic figure, to be truthful. And I'm leaving it there. So, just now. It's this part I wanted to read, I forget. Oh gosh. And it's what I have been saying also. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. This is the part I wanted to read. Because me am no president of a union. But I know what I'm talking about. Just now. Hear what she said again. Hear what she said again. Let me write. So if they have said that they would have enunciated throughout the campaign that negotiations will start at 10%, we are anxious to see what they have promised to be actually realizing. And she had also said, this is where we sit now on a state of accountability, and we have always maintained that. So either party, whether it is PNM, who would have been victorious, or UNC, which has emerged victorious, we are here to keep them to account to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, especially working class, to ensure the promises that they would have articulated and realized. Ogier also said the union was interested to see who will be the new ministers of Labor and Public Utilities. She said CWT will immediately again be requesting some reports they were asking for, and she also said, which part I saw it, she wanted to know, she wanted to know for what period was this 10%. But my thing I'm saying is this. Also, who again calling to Natuk is calling for a call for a people-centered economy. Let me hear what they say. That is a recognized umbrella trade union, not JTOM. Natuk is the umbrella body for trade unions. It's recognized. So this was May the 1st. Loop News. The National Trade Union Center, in observance of May Day 2025, believes the labor movement must go beyond the bargaining table to protect working class. In May Day message, NATU calls for a new chapter in people-centered economy where social justice is not just a slogan, but a guiding principle of national policy. NATU says a new economic model is needed, which prioritizes job-led and wage-led growth as a foundation of sustainable development, replacing what it says is the failed trickle-down policies that have deepened inequality and hardship in society. And I'm asking again, when Labor had labor, because Aaron McLeod was the Minister of Labor under UNC government that had 29 seats. What did they do for labor? What did Aaron McLeod do for labor? What did Olia agitate for Aaron McLeod to do for labor? So don't come and all that bullshit now to talk all this fancy talk, because every time always they be talking that and nothing moving forward. The trade union reminds workers that May Day is a day of resistance against the unjust economic system that continues to concentrate wealth and power in the hands of the privileged few. And I would say, in my opinion, that all is the privileged few, because all they always want to be like the politician. Not only that, all the salaries all they does get. I tell you again, it is alleged that Ansel Roger's salary is $90,000 a month. Ansel Roger works nowhere, he has retired. It was alleged that, but his salary was over $50,000 a month from the PSA, from members' money, just like Roger and them. I don't know how much was Anisette money. So them is the privileged few, because them driving the biggest car, the fanciest car, the biggest house, everything. And the workers ain't getting nothing. All that time under them, workers ain't getting nothing. So you go blame government for that. And if they ain't got a 10% minimum, blaming this government. I'll tell you why I come into that. So I'm reading too much more of this with Anisette and them, because I want them to look. I want them to look into the union movement, where there's research to show that 1 out of 3 women in the union movement have faced abuse or been abused. Let them deal with that. And I want to know all of them stands. Roger, Anisette, Baptiste, all of them stand on domestic abuse. What is the thoughts on domestic abuse? I'm just asking a question. So, public officers, the one, as I say, Roger, not the Anisette and them calling for, because he's the secretary or something, so not to calling for a more people-centered economy under this UNC. When UNC was there before, I don't know what they were calling for, or they must be just calling for the refinery. So right now, as I say, on everybody's mind is 10%. And again, I say, let me get it straight. Because people call me today again about this 10%. And people getting confused with when they hear 10% increase. I think they're telling themselves that it means that they would get 10% increase in the salary. They're not understanding. It is a starting point of negotiation. But I concur with the president or general or whatever of CW, Mrs. O'Gare, that it is unrealistic to start off capping a negotiation so high. You don't cap and start negotiations so high, because that is up and down, and it go up based on certain dynamics, the economic situation, the data and the analyses and evidence and stuff the union had to present to show they could get more than 10. The skill of the negotiating person for the union. And I know PSA in hand on, so they're going to hire a lawyer or economist, so they might bring back Professor Roger Gosani, because they haven't had nobody to negotiate nothing. But my point is this: the government could say, based on when they look at things, because they know how the economy is, because the central bank does send out a report, whether quarterly or whatever, so them aware of what it have and what it don't have. They're very well aware of what it have. They very well know how the economy going all that. So I want to see if when the negotiations start, because people are thinking you're going to get 10% increase. You're not going to get 10% increase. You have to go and sit down in front of the CPO and negotiate for that same 10%. And that's why I say negotiation, you don't have to get it, because they could say they make a commitment and a promise, but those things can be broken. There's no contract. In the manifesto, there's nothing. I understand that say there's a contract between them and the unions. Why the unions don't look for a contract? Where it's signed on the dotted line that when we get into office, public officers will get 10% increase. Why don't look for that? Why not the union have to go and negotiate for the 10%? Unions have to go and sit down now to negotiate for the 10%. They ain't get no 10%. Public officers ain't get no 10%. They have to sit and negotiate, all you understanding now? And for what period is this 10% negotiating for? And I ask again, because you don't negotiate with 9 years straight. Them could say, the government could say it's for 9 years or 10 years or 12 years or whatever. But when you're negotiating, you don't negotiate for them big, you negotiate for 3 years at a time. And if it's in the industrial court, it becomes for 5 years. So that 10% that you have to negotiate for, what period is it for? It can't be for 2020, 21, and 22. Because the PSA has sent in no new wage proposal for that year. So it had to be for 2014, 15, and 16. And if they're saying the 10% that you have to negotiate for is for 2014, 15, 16, and then 17, 18, 19. When you're going for the CPO is not going to negotiate 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 together. You have to split it up in 2, 3-year terms. So how is the 10% that you're negotiating for, how is it going to be distributed? Will it be 5% you're negotiating for the period 2014-16 and 5% for the period 17-19? Or is it going to negotiate 6% for the period 14-15-16 and 4% for the period 17-18-19? Or you're going to negotiate 7%? Because that's how it is done. So 14, 2%, 15, 3%, 16, 2%, and then the rest of the 17, 18, 19, you attach percentages to that. How will this 10% increase that unions know how to go and negotiate for? How is it going to be distributed? They're not telling all of that, excuse me. But by law, it has to be 1 3-year period at a time. And everybody agreed to it, it's signed off, and then now you start a fresh negotiation for a next negotiating period. And then what happened to 2020, 21, 22, and 23? Because PSA do not have any wage proposal made up, and they don't make up a wage proposal in a day or 2 days. So anyhow you take it, whether you want to say previous government screwy, we getting screwy again. But this time with fancy words and promises. The next government didn't promise you anything. They tell you as it is. You're getting a promise here. That's all they're sure to get us saying again, we're not getting no 10% increase. They have to now go and sit down to negotiate for that 10%. So wait is all about you and zero. And walk around warm with 10%, with 10%. What 10%? What 10%? So this is what. So this is what was promised.
And I also want to tell the TN Tech workers who are unjustly treated, that this 10% is also for you. With the consolidation of the cost of living allowance, going back to the start of your negotiation period, PNM give you 0.00. Kamla Prasad business are going to give you 10% on the consolidation of COLA with big back pay. We are going to be updated.
So you hear Roger saying something different now. 0.00 represent a negotiating period. He said Kamala is going to give her 10% for that negotiating period. Then 3 years. So then the next 3 years negotiating period, they're going to start negotiation at 10% again. So the new starting point for negotiation is 10%. That is why economists and Ms. O'Gare from the CWU say it is not realistic. So you see, well, I'm changing the tongue and saying something different. Now it's 0.00, that's 3 years alone. So the 10%, according to what Roger not saying, that I have to go and negotiate for is for 3 years. we haven't got an increase in salary since 2013. So that's 14, 15, 16, one period, 17, 18, 19, 2, 20, 21, 22, 23. We're up to 23. So that's 6 and 4 much years? 10 years. And he is saying the 10% they had to go and negotiate for is for where the government offered T and Tech 000. And I know they had an issue from 2015 or anywhere around there. They were negotiating for whatever it is. So what is Roger and them really telling and fooling people with? What Felicia Thomas and them fooling people with, boy? Why are they doing them thing? Tell workers the truth and let them make a choice if they choose to vote you and see whoever it is tell, but all they can't tell them the truth. Because of the fact, all they know if all they tell them the truth, that they will reject all they and reject all they telling them, so they lie to them. I say all they lie to them because they didn't tell them the whole truth. Otherwise, they will never be calling to find out when they get in the 10% increase in salary. Listen to this too.
However, they are also making it clear that the time for words has passed and the time for action must begin immediately. CWU Secretary General June Ogier points out that while her union did not endorse any political party, yet while the UNC's labor promises were well received, unions are now looking for clear action.
Does this 10% increase in wages, is this for one collective bargaining period, which is 3 years? I have heard it to be rumored to be 2. So these are some of the things that the UNC need to come out and tell the working class, because it would be very foolhardy for workers to believe, especially here at TSTG, that we are now waiting to get a 10% increase, when in fact the company has said 000.
However, they are also making it clear.
So, when I read the article just now, that is the President General of CW Communication Workers Union I was talking about. Hear what she said? What period is this 10% increase for? Because them here is for 2 period. Make it clear what it is for. Roger and them didn't do that. They went about and fooled people. Felicia Thomas and them went about and fooled people, fooled public officers. And public officers, they're saying they're going to get 10% increase. They're waiting for the 10%. We hear and you have to negotiate for the 10%. And we hear, we don't show what period it is for. We hear Roger say a 3-year period. He says 000. He say which 3 years it is. So they have people confused and everybody all over the place talking about they want the 10% increase. So this man is advising Kamala how to pay we money.
Yes, people, tell me if this is madness or what this is. The Police Association put out something out there that for Kamala Persad-Bissessar to fulfill she campaign and promise and the wage increase for the public servants and them to give it to them. It had no problem, but she is swearing it. So where's all the problem? Where's the problem? You know what she should do? She should take time and give them it a little bit by a little bit by a little bit over a period of time, and do not ever give them all the money one time. The reason for that is because they have done that in the past. For the time the campaign promises was made, they went and started to dig out the eye of Basir Pandey and dig out the eye of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. And when they collect the money, they turn around and they start to make problems in the country. So they should not give them the money as they promised. And they went and they rushed going to take 5% from Stuart Young. They went and rushed and take it. Why didn't they went and protest and make problem to get the 5% from the PNM? Why didn't they went and make protests for wage increases for higher levels and make riot for it under the PNM? It's because they're afraid what Rowley and Stuart Young and them would do to them. That's how they say that if you boycott them, you become politically dead. Well, apparently that would have maybe happened to people who protest in this country, because if you notice something, protesting in this country was never ever raised up. at the level that it used to when the Spaniard was in power. So something was wrong and something was up. So the ability to come now to bamboos and play the going to, because she's a woman, they go walk over she to get what they wanted because she's a very strong woman. She can stand strong and ensure that she stands strong and she's not being bullied and walk over by anybody. It's just a little discussion here. It's not no fighting dog and not no quarreling or anything like that. But it's because of the attitude of the people in this country here. They have government jobs. They don't perform by working in the offices. I have a simple situation where I'm waiting for a document. Call in the office, the document discharge. I went to the other side. They haven't received the document. I went back to where it's supposed to be implemented from. They're showing evidence in book where it has been discharged on date and time and the collecting of it. And the other side saying they have not received the document. So who playing the game where? It's government, it's people, it's government workers that is them is there. So somebody playing up the game on it. So that they have been doing these things to the people of the public and playing games with them. They're not taking the work seriously. But all the concern about mountain, money which they account mountain. That's all the business about. But to perform for the money that they get in, no. Trinidad people have a stink habit. Money is never enough for what they're working for. But Venezuelan can come, the Jamaican can come, the Guyanese can come and work for less than what they're working for and make money, save money, and develop themselves and grow themselves, and Trinidad people is remaining the way they are. Why? Because of their mentality and their attitude. So that is something that they need to look into. And Kamala Kasapi says, I believe that because of her challenges with this in the last tenure and the Basde Pandit tenure when she was there too, she observe and learn from that of what the people will do to them if they have given them it before time. So they should take the time now and give them it inch by inch till it finished, until they get what they have to get.
Marky, I wanted to cost that man. The man the man said to give all the nothing, all the work for nothing, all they want every month is money, all they want to choke out people. Marky, look, the man saying, why you can't see? The man say all they deserve nothing. Don't give all the nothing, give all the peace. You know you go cost see because you look like me. They go cost me because how I look. All they go there, they're coming out, they're jumping out and talking now, they brave now, you know. They brave and all the time, yeah, them time. No, I don't know it at this time and that time and all kind of time. But yeah, what going on? Who yeah, this one. This one says she wants she money. Let me see if I find it here quick. I didn't save the thing, boy. What time I didn't save it now? Oh gosh. Just now. Oh, I think I'm just now. Let me get it for her. She public officer says she waiting. Look at it. Real easy, you know. What she waiting for she worry. What do you think? Come on, man. You know, like I'm getting it just now, eh? Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Oh, God, oh, people is sweet.
My back pay, I'm a 10% increase. What you say? Back pay? Yeah, 10% increase. Eh? What you say? Now we can back pay. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we getting back pay. Yeah, 10% increase. When I get my back pay, I'm not car like that. Now, I'll buy a car like that. Not like that one. Let's say I'm maxi. Look at maxi, yeah, go buy maxi. Yeah. Okay, keep the change. We're getting back there just now and 10% increase. Thank you. We're getting back there just now and 10% increase.
You see the misinformation? We are getting a 10% increase. That's a go and sit down to negotiate. But this lady said something here, and I don't know. I don't know. It's always I say I tell all of that, the coulda, the shoulda, and the woulda.
No 10% for nobody.
You see the government workers who vote on the PNM, because only about 10%. I just let only know. You see the next 5 years, when somebody in PNM when again just only at a tight, only belt even tighter. Because the men bring back the country from scrap. And all they gonna do stupidness again. We know getting better. We know holding on the fort. All they so hungry for 10%, boy. All they not getting. Come not can't give all of that. The country have no money to give all of that. Where we going and find that money to get 10% for all the government workers? All that chicken, mad people in this place. But I thought I was mad, but all they take when.
No 10% for nobody.
Yes.
That is her view, so we saw two sides of it. One say, don't give we not if you gain weight, give we a little bit, we don't deserve nothing. And she said, we expect them to get the money from and Let me just read this quickly. A bird in the hand, but people vote on the emotion, they can't stop them for that. That's how life is. That's how life is, but when you finish, I always tell you, when you finish, make a decision based on emotions alone, and that emotion pass, because you don't be angry forever, you don't be sad forever, you don't be happy forever, because there's emotions, they go from one to the next, and when those emotions leave, you just sit down and say, I coulda do, I shoulda do, and I woulda do. That what has always happened. But it is what it is. They say, when you see win, everybody win. But right now I see a certain people, John Jeremy win. A man who the law association, they reject that. He win. And we see some other things win. We see right now, people want contract, they frightened. Some picking up and walking out, it was alleged. So, what they have to walk out for, what they have to leave for, they're supposed to stay there because when UNC win, everybody win. Nobody is supposed to lose their work. Why does people losing the work now? Didn't always say when UNC win, everybody win? That was a code. That was the code. Who is everybody? Now you hear she conversation. I'm paraphrasing. She will guard she children fiercely or something, so and fight for them. Who is she children she talking about? All of that caught up and tell all this because look, she children she talking about outside a UNC office had to stand up like little children to wait till whenever they open the door to get them wherever they have to get them, and a security call to tell them, don't make no noise here. I hear about disruption. No smoking here, no smoking marijuana. No smoking, no marijuana. Like, all over here, what they have to get, right? Yes, sir. All right. That is the children who she will protect fiercely. That is the one who win, or the ones who it is a let's say they tell them to go them 600 or so. Okay, when they go, some gain 3, some who walk the same, the name not and all this, they can't get nothing and it's mixed up and all kind of thing. Them who win, when I look, they're looking just like me. When you see win, everybody win. Why it is the Single Women Association woman? Why is she worried? When you see when everybody win, she shouldn't be worried. She should be secure in she position that Mother Kiamla is going to take care of them. What she worried about and begging? I want me to tell you don't do that with the URP and the thing, because what you have to do that for? Kiamla say the Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago that all they voted was say when everybody win. Who is everybody? How you not anxious all of a sudden? When did it up and down on the platform telling people to vote UNC? They wasn't anxious. They were sure they're getting that money. And all of a sudden, they had to sit down and negotiate for the 10%. So according to the International Monetary Fund, the world is facing a renewed surge in public debt. And this was, what the date on this thing, boy? The 2nd of May, 2025. According to the International Monetary Fund, the world is facing a renewed surge in public debt, with projections for 2025 indicating that several nations are seeing debt levels surpass those recorded during the peak of COVID-19 pandemic. According to, just now, the right over, in a striking shift, Sudan has overtaken Japan to become the country with the highest debt to GDP ratio in the world in 2025. Who we have again? So here are 10 countries with the highest debt to GDP ratio 2025. Sudan, Japan, Singapore, Greece, Bahrain, Maldives, Italy, United States, France, and Canada. You hear the big guns? And the gross debt is Sudan, 252%, Japan, 234.9%, Singapore, 174.9%, Greece, 142.2%, Bahrain, 141.4%, Maldives, 140.8%, Italy, 137.3%, United States, 133.5%, France, 116.3%, and Canada, 112.5%. So, as I had said, just like how Kamala Prasad and Bisestan, they would have run up the exchequer account and put it into overdraft by $33 billion, because the lending in the central bank is $10 billion. The same way to give the promises that they're giving, they're going to run up with that, rocket high, take money from all over, devalue money. GDP will go down because you see how things going now. Food will get more expensive, inflation will go up. And when they spin around and people quarreling and getting whatever, quick fix IMF. With that come, you see all who on contract now and they go in wherever, it ain't go just be on contract, it will be public servants. But remember the catchphrase. And I will give only this joke. Notice something about KFC. KFC colors, because there's something called psychology of colors, red, white, the stripe. And KFC, notice they build their KFC in strategic places to me. So when they come in down Frederick Street, there's one right there. You're walking across Duke Street at a corner right there, so we have a school and some business space, the corner of Duke and Charlotte Street, it have a KFC right there. It's in a corner. They always put it in a corner. And I have noticed all about 10 o'clock so in the day, and the vents put. I noticed them thing, I mean, the vents are particular way now. And all about probably 10 or 11 so on, they will start a fried chicken. When that scent hit your nose, you walking down Frederick Street or wherever, you're not hungry, you know. When you're walking again, I smell that. What's that, boy? Oh, God. Chicken, I start to feel hungry, boy. Oh, God. But some about KFC, yes? Because when you reach the end of the road, KFC there, you're debating, eh? Oh, God, boy, I could take that money and buy it. But, oh, God, it's smelling good. Look, I go buy it, yes, because that will save me from going home and cook. You go, you buy it, you eat it when you're done, you walk out your ass complaining. I didn't like how it is. I find it too dry. I cannot save my blasted money because I'm still hungry. I cannot buy this with it and that with it and this with it. That comes just like the UNC, in my opinion. Corn is yellow. When UNC win, Everybody wins, and it's inside your psyche. And you buy into it. And now that you're bought into it, the realization come to, wait is a buy. I should have never. Just like our shoes, you see in these shoes, oh God, these shoes nice. You have to get these shoes. You buy these shoes. You ain't walk around in your house to test it out and wait. The same time you buy it, whatever. And halfway, wherever, it start to cut with the back of your heel. It start to burn your toe when the sun hit your toe. It start to squeeze your toe. Your foot sliding down, so here what you say. I gotta keep my blasted money and wear my old shoes I have. We just do them things because you know why? Advertisement and things just attract us. That's why you just have catchy tunes. You just put things in certain places to go catch your eye. You put something red, some say walking down the road and the red catch your eye, you spin to watch it. They put up a sign, sale. You have money, you see sale. Your money to pay rent, all kind of things, sale. When you look at curtains, oh God, boy, you know how long I wanted them curtains, have it and say, hey, what's going on? I'll just go in and look at it. When I ended the sales girl say, but buy it now because going back up again and thing. Here, you start to decide, rent thing. Here what? I go buy the curtain with that. Here what? I go tell the landlord, I go pay the extra thing. We just do that advertising. And the UNC know how to advertise. Everybody get caught up at when UNC win, everybody win. But the people who that song went for, in my opinion, they knew she was talking about. In my opinion, as contractors and lawyers and friends and family and all that, because we heard that's what they do 2010, 15. So the point I'm making is this. We are where we are now. We're going to hear more people. We're going to hear more people complaining. We're going to see more being expressed all over Facebook, all over the place, because social media, that is the place you're going now. And then we're going to hear the weeping and the nationality and the cussing and the blaming and all that. Blame all yourself. Blame all yourself. They didn't hold your hand, carry inside the voting booth, and put your X by the UNC. Them didn't tell you to vex with the PNM, and I don't like voting, so I'm not going and vote, and tell your whole family don't go and vote, because we do business. So that today in Tanapuna, Esmond Ford is not a member of parliament, but a man who even living in Tanapuna, who never contributed to Tanapuna, is the member of parliament, because all it was vexed with Esmond Ford because he didn't give me this, he didn't give that, and all they ain't think like what the UNC to think. That's what PNM supporters need to start to do now. Think like the UNC supporters in this aspect alone. Just this aspect. If they put a crapper up, once it's a PNM, vote for it. Because it's about, now, don't get tired. You can love your party and love country the same time, and maintain your ethics, your morals, and everything. Or they don't make it seem, but for Kamala, then when them say party first, them mean it a different way. Them serious about that. But I talking about in terms of how the UNC does vote, because at the end of the day, it's to keep the party in office. And if all they know, despite who member of parliament didn't come and who we didn't see and who we like, we all they know the best party to run this country is the People's National Movement. Or they just get caught up and I don't want to vote for the member of parliament. You know, if your members of parliament lose the seat, it makes it harder for the PNM to win collectively. Because it's all them 41 make up the face of the PNM to go to fight. So if all in all the constituency, and now the PNM is doing what you see, they say, I testing it out. I ain't voting for Ford because he ain't give me this and he get this one, this and get this. I ain't voting for this one. I ain't voting for that whatever. I sit in all that. I ask business. And now today the PNM is 13 seat, UNC is 26. Don't cry. Don't cry. It's all they make that choice. Or they start to think like the UNC, not corruption and all them thing I talking about that. I talk about in terms of when they're voting. Then I say if we put PNM put a crapper in a tie, we will vote with the lie. UNC. Then I say PNM people is fanatics and sycophants, the lie is UNC. It's PNM people who cause UNC to win the election. whether they come out and vote or they didn't vote. So let's start again that kind of mindset now. That me saying so, I'm not talking about corruption and them thing. I'm talking about in terms of the voting. Only want the PNM to stay in office. Whoever they put up, once it's not a criminal or some abuser or somebody criminal act, once it's not that, go and vote for them now. And let the PNM win. In the absence of that, only going to have intermission with the UNC come in and they go full on it. When the UNC win, everybody win. And then people lost in their work already. People are crying out, they're frightened, they're anxious, they this, that, and all kind of thing. So people, this is where we at. And the public officers again, we're not getting no 10% increase like that. They have to negotiate. And if Roger and them they explain that to public officers, I am telling you, UNC might not have won no election. Because people don't realize the bullshit in them. But they crouch it nicely. We ain't getting no 10%. They have to negotiate for that. That is the starting point. They have to negotiate for it. And if, what period, negotiating period it is for? And if it's just for one period, are you telling me the next period they're also going to start at 10%? Because that is why economists and people are saying it is not realistic. You cannot put a cap every year on how much the negotiation starting with. You have to be a madman or a mad woman to do that. Because every year things just change and shift and shift. And if you stay one place stagnant, you put yourself in a bind. So that alone should I tell public officers it is unrealistic. But it is where we are today. And who want to curse me? That is quite okay. I curse proof. Who want to insult me? I insult proof. If I feel to answer you back, I will answer. Otherwise, I just slide past. And I'm proud to have my slave master name. Because I'm going to tell you something, Joseph Charles Butler Works. He was not African. He was a man of Indian descent. And he changed his name from Ahmadian. Let's just have the name right, don't forget. Because he wasn't getting his product sold. When he went to England and all that, they wasn't taking him on. And he realized what's going on. Because you're selling a little juice and a little this and that, whatever. And he wanted to get bigger than that. He wanted to buy some bottles from a bottling company, all that. So he didn't take it on. And he decided what's going on. I'm going to use the slave master name, Joseph Charles. And that's how he baked today. He never changed it back. His children never changed back the name. Them name ain't no Joseph Charles. But them take the slave master name because they know the slave master name you could get in places faster than a proud ancestral Indian name. Same thing with African people. So me proud of me slave master name. But my ancestors were never slaves. They were enslaved, which is two different things. Words have meaning. Just like we're going to start negotiations at 10% and telling people they're getting a 10% increase. Words are very important. So Ona, Helen, Joel, Andrea, Fillmore, Elizabeth, Cha, Angela, Leslie, Philo, Caroline, Shireen, Rena, Ruthven, fantastic Fiona, Brunette girl, you're right. If you know you're fantastic, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous, let people know. Put it out there. Yeah, I like that. Brenda, Beverly, Allison, Edward, Tessa, Trisha Lopez, Edward, she whole name. Denise Reed, Lioness, Kane, Missy, Papa, yo, she let you know she does raw. Angela Rodriguez Lacroix. That means all people, you know. Roxanne King, always locked on with me, boy. Chloe B. Brown, Yvonne, Cleveland too. Patricia Kwameta. She's telling, I feel she waited for me to come to look for she, you know. She from all the way up in, oh gosh, Virginia. Ricardo, Coca, Herb, Butler, No, Jennifer, Sherilyn, my whole friend from Pune, Kenneth, Carlton, Philomene, Wesley, Bolty. If you don't love that name, you know. You know, doing their dance and thing, or I just say put that name just, I don't know. Sandra Everett, I always want to do Indian dance, but classical. classical Indian dances with the eye, the hand, and the watch me now. When you watch that eye movement and that, look, very intricate work, you know, it ain't easy, you know, just go India learn for years under certain masters and do certain classical dance before they come good, you know. Just like if you're doing a thesis, yes. Friend, African dancing the same thing, but our dances is always from hip down. So that way I see a lot of hip movement and dancing. But yeah, you have to train for them things. You see how them not jump and spin on the different beat and every movement signifies something. So watch me. African, Indian dance, Chinese dance to have their thing too. They want us a little more one. And then the Syrian, of course, look at the belly. I can't my belly hurting me. But have you seen them Syrian and them belly dance and the eye and the click click? Hey, watch me now. Culture, art, history is such a beautiful thing, and tradition. So Brenda, Noel, Campbell, Taylor, Arlene, Lucian, Stuart, Pamela, Margaret, Michael, Hazel, Joanne, Lola, Katia, remember Felicia, and she hold them. Joyce and Small White, oh God, one of my Duluth one. They in a row, you know, Helen Ross Row asked me, all people from Princestown, no, Pleasantville. Hadara, always there with me to boy. Marie Fugaro, Leonard, Mary James, Derek Jack, Anton, always there too. Sarah, always there. Mona, Ravidas, Deborah, Joseph George, Veronica Phillip, and Nicole Williams. Hi Melka. Let me tell you something. These are some people, when you hear again, once they have been with me, they from day one. Cheryl Ann Hall, Melka, I think Gloria Roberts, then when Roxanne log on Rox and Constance, and it have a crew of them always with me, and I thank you all and all those who keep coming. My hat lady, Donna too. Donna always there too. Patricia since she come on. I know you have something for me, don't worry, we go talk after that. Ras, oh God, sorry. Bolty, I don't know is a man. No disrespect, darling. Bolty is a man. I always thought as a woman. Anyhow, so I just say I want to thank you all for always staying locked on, tuning into the We Talk Ting. And we'll always have something to say. Heavily into labor, and the labor will be always mixing with the politics and the thing. So expect more. And as we go along, you know what the thing is. And Mackie, I hope you ain't dirty up your couch so people will know what they'll be doing. All right. What about you? Oh God, it'll be there too, Dandy. All the rest, listen to me. All these my doodles will be there for me, right? Dandy and Brian and Cheryl and Philemon, Rena, all of us be there for me. Oh God, all of them get jealous now. I love all of you. And Gail, you know, I should have never said something. I should have keep it to myself. But here what? That is what it's about. I love all the bad, all the always with me. All the always tune in, and I appreciate that plenty. All it has given me the motivation to want to come to actually do this something. Oh God, here Tessa, let all of them put up all the name now. Yes, Tessa. I love you too. You're always there with me. Oh Jesus. Oh, I love all of you, right? I love all of you. Daddy, you have a damn right to laugh. Shireen, you're always there with me too. Jen, you have a full. Oh God, I had to full some days for Dominic. Where? All you got so Angela, Richard. I forget. No, don't try to make no bacchanal between me and Dandy at all, Miss Angela. Me, I forget Dandy. Don't try no bacchanal there at all, Anyway, I love all you about it. Let me see what put now. You love memory now. Oh God. I just cry easy, you know. Leon, I just cry easy, you know. Mikey doesn't have a call, but he has to sit on the ground. But anyway, we love Mikey too, you know, all this nonsense. Mikey does come in because, you know, it's a love. Don't matter how I just tell him all kind of thing, you know, it's a love at the end of the day. People, I love you all. See you all on Monday, Gospel. Filling in for Dominic, I can never fill in for Dominic. I'm not able to do this 5 days a week. It is not as easy as what you may think it is. I will have to do a lot of this. I can't. So that's why I'm making my commitment, and I promise. Me and write no contract, I'll make a commitment, and you know, I'll just try and keep my word as much as possible. I will Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. You all could find me here 5:30. I'll put up a notice so all will see. Love you all. Enjoy your weekend. enjoy your weekend, right? And see you on Monday, because and remember, at the end of the day, there's a new government in place, but they promise and they promise and they promise, and they say them could do better than the last government. You will see. To the Kamla Prasad Bissessa regime, I hope all they don't leave the social welfare building, where's the house, all social welfare departments all over town, all over, down where the printer used to be on Tragreet and Victoria Street, I think it is. I hope all it don't leave it there and it become a skeleton. I hope all it don't let bad mind keep all it from finishing the building. So all the social welfare building that Summon Henry, all them come under one umbrella. I hope all they finish it so that all they could stop paying the 1%, the rent that is paying now, that all they say they pay them love 1% and was paying them thing. I hope all they finish the building. We will be watching that too and talking about that too. I hope all they finish all projects that the PNM had built. I understand all it. Or for the office of the Prime Minister website, they clean off everything like if PNM never do nothing. I hope somebody was taking note of all the things that the PNM had done, so that when they come to say that they do this and do that, all they could show and say it's not true. They start to take down all the things that PNM do and clean it clean. So it's them not like it's them, everything them do. This is not 2010, 15, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bissessa. People more hip with social media, people more hip with recording, people more hip with saving videos, it's not the same thing, darling, all right? And I know you say you're strong. Those are you're fragile, but you're strong and you go 5 ways. All them things is big talk, you know. Them things are talk, you know. Settle down and let me see around this country now under the conditions it's in. Not created by the PNM, but because of geopolitics and because of the world economy and because of the oil and gas situation. Let me see around this country now. People have a blessed weekend. Love all you. Thank God.
They say I'm a walking contradiction. I never did drugs and I've never been to prison. A black male poet making money off a sentence, speaking love from a God, leading hearts towards repentance. Yeah, I'm different. I'll admit it. I got married at 23 and still committed. But I never identified with one mold and art-loving, anime-watching basketball player with one goal. But I'm not perfect. At least I tried to be. Staying clear of stereotypes that follow me like a frat boy with many girls. Yeah, I did that. But couldn't look at myself in the mirror to get back to who I really was. Lost at sea, surrounded by hungry sharks, but the sharks was me. Blood pouring from my wounds, all hope lost. Until I heard that strong voice saying, to save you will cost. And he died. So if you look at my life to see the broken pieces, you'll see a completed little puzzle fitting perfect at the creases. I am different. And that's okay, I'm cool with that. Because I'm a walking contradiction and there are no rules for that. At the end of the day, who are you? Because I'm just Jeff. Brown, good morning, how y'all doing? Y'all good? Man, it's a privilege to be here this morning. I'm not going to talk long. I'm going to dive into the poem I created to honor the legacy of Dr. King. So if y'all ready, say yeah, yeah. Yeah. If you're ready, say yeah, yeah. Yeah. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us, and we ask ourselves, who am I? See, I believe that Dr. King said it best. That salvation is in the King with the S across his chest, and somehow he knew of the time he had left because he spoke of a glory which left him dead without a breath. And I find it ironic how a world is so demonic when we substitute the real for the fake, making celebrities iconic. We authentically accept the annual annihilation of our ancestors' attributions and belittle our brothers because bitterness is bountiful and contagious, so we consciously convert corruption into confusion, and we wonder why we never learned our proper ABCs. It's because we become illiterate to the dangers of this world. So many of us know what SMH stands for. What does it mean? But how many of us know what CEO is? So I'm shaking my head at my generation for failing to read the proper text that places everything into context about reality. But honestly, you are royalty. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. You were all meant to shine as children do. You were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us, and it's not just in some of us. It's in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others, and I believe myself to be an honorable man. One worth dying for according to God's master plan, which is the gospel. God overtly spreads promises of eternity to lost souls, to you and to me. Now, the only thing to fear is God. Thank y'all.